Admiral Kavaris stood silently on the command bridge of his flagship, Eternal Ascendancy, staring into the endless ocean of stars beyond the viewport. Behind him, spread across 3 light-years of cold vacuum, waited the greatest war armada the Velkari Dominion had ever unleashed. 9,700 warships, 2 million elite soldiers, enough firepower to erase civilizations from history. Kavaris felt no fear, no doubt, only pride. And he was about to make the most catastrophic mistake of his life. The High Council's command had arrived 6 cycles earlier. Short, final, unquestionable. Humanity was expanding too fast. Their colony ships were spilling into neighboring systems. Their population growth defied projections. They were noisy, aggressive, and showed little respect for the natural hierarchy of galactic powers. They needed correction. They needed control. They needed conquest. Kavaris had studied the intelligence reports personally. Humans were a young species, barely 3 centuries beyond atmospheric flight. Their ships were inefficient, their weapons crude, their shields barely sufficient to stop training-grade energy bursts. But the most important conclusion was this: humans were divided. Hundreds of nations, thousands of languages, endless internal conflict. They fought each other more than any external enemy. Division made them weak. Or so the Velkari believed. Kavaris turned from the viewport toward the tactical holomap, hovering at the center of the bridge. A tiny blue dot pulsed gently. Earth, surrounded by fragile colonies, Mars, scattered asteroid stations, distant research outposts. All of it, Kavaris thought, will soon belong to the Dominion. Status, he commanded. Commander Vathran stepped forward. All vessels aligned. Jump calculations complete. We will reach the Sol system perimeter in 4 hours. Any sign the humans are aware of us? None, Admiral. Their sensors are primitive. A thin smile crossed Kavaris's face. This would be effortless. His voice echoed across every ship in the fleet. Warriors of the Dominion, he declared. Today we bring order to chaos. The humans are young and misguided. They do not yet understand their place among the stars. He paused. Some will resist. Some will fight. This is expected. His voice hardened. But resistance will only teach them the truth faster. For the Dominion, he roared. We claim Earth. The fleet thundered in response. Moments later, reality itself folded. The invasion had begun. 4 hours later, space screamed. The Velkari Armada emerged at the edge of the Sol system, and on Earth, alarms wailed. Dr. Sarah Chen dropped her lunch tray as numbers flooded her screen. Impossible readings. Impossible mass signatures. Thousands of objects had appeared from nowhere. They weren't human. They couldn't be. Energy profiles didn't match anything ever built on Earth. Her hands shook as she reran the calculations. Same result. An invasion fleet. Within minutes, humanity woke up. Presidents interrupted meetings. Prime ministers abandoned ceremonies. Generals were summoned from sleep. One message reached every capital on Earth. Aliens are coming. Arrival in 3 days. Panic followed. Some leaders argued for surrender. Others demanded total war. Humanity argued like it always had. Until one name silenced the room. General Elena Vasquez. They found her tending tomatoes in rural Argentina. 73 years old, retired. Legendary. When they told her what was coming, her eyes burned with purpose. At the United Nations Emergency Summit, Vasquez studied the frightened faces before her. They expect us to kneel, she said calmly. They believe we are divided. She smiled. They are wrong. We cannot defeat them head-on, she continued. But we don't fight wars the way they do. A hologram appeared, zooming in on the asteroid belt. For 2 centuries, we've moved rocks for profit. Her finger traced new trajectories. Now we move them for survival. Silence. Then realization. We turn the solar system itself into a weapon. Asteroids. Gravity. Physics. No lasers. No shields. Just mass and velocity. When they enter the belt, Vasquez said softly, they will learn what it means to face humanity. 3 days later, the Velkari fleet entered the asteroid belt, and history changed. The first impact struck at 32 kilometers per second. Shields failed. Hull ruptured. A warship ceased to exist. Then another. And another. Admiral Kavaris stared in disbelief. They're using rocks, he whispered. By the time the fleet escaped the belt, 240 ships were gone, and doubt had entered his mind. Mars offered no resistance. Only emptiness. Until the missiles launched. Thousands of nuclear warheads screamed into space. Miniature suns bloomed. One ship after another vanished by the time Kavaris withdrew. Nearly 1,500 ships were destroyed, before Earth was even in sight. That night, the Admiral wrote to the High Council. They do not fight with honor, he wrote. They weaponize everything. They embrace atomic fire. They refuse to break. He paused. We underestimated them. On Earth, General Vasquez studied the final report. Enemy fleet strength? She asked. 8,500 ships. She nodded. Good. They're close, an officer said. Vasquez clenched her fist. Then let's show them, she replied. Why humanity still exists. 3 hours before contact. Low Earth orbit was no longer space. It was a battlefield waiting to be ignited. Hidden beneath oceans, mountains, deserts, and cities, humanity's final preparations reached completion. Satellites shifted positions. Old defense platforms, long, dismissed as obsolete, powered up for the first time in decades. Cargo freighters were stripped of armor and converted into kinetic launch platforms. Nothing elegant. Nothing honorable. Just effective. General Elena Vasquez stood in the underground command center as Earth rotated slowly on the main display. Enemy fleet entering high-resolution sensor range, an officer reported. The screen filled with icons. Thousands of them. The Valkyrie Armada moved with perfect formation. Disciplined, symmetrical, confident. They had adapted. Their ships now spread wider, shields overlapping, point defenses primed. They believed they had learned humanity's tricks. Vasquez exhaled slowly. They think we've shown them everything, she said. She looked up. We haven't. Admiral Kavaris watched Earth grow larger through the viewport. A fragile blue world, so small, so defiant. Open all channels, he ordered. A transmission burst across the planet, translated instantly into every human language. This is Admiral Kavaris of the Valkyrie Dominion, his voice boomed. You have demonstrated creativity. You have inflicted losses. A pause. It has changed nothing. Power down your defenses. Submit to Dominion authority. You will be spared. Silence followed. Then a reply. Not from a president, not from a council. One voice. Old. Calm. Unshaken. This is General Elena Vasquez of Earth. Kavaris frowned. A single commander. You are trespassing in our home, she continued. You've burned your warning shots. You've made your threats. Her voice hardened. Now you're out of chances. The transmission cut. Kavaris slammed a fist onto his command console. All ships, he roared. Advance. Prepare orbital bombardment. The Valkyrie fleet moved, and Earth responded. Thousands of civilian-looking satellites exploded outward, panels, peeling away to reveal rail cannons hidden inside. Lunar defense arrays emerged from beneath regolith, rotating into firing position. Old space stations detonated deliberately, sending clouds of debris directly into Valkyrie approach lanes. Then gravity shifted. Artificial gravity wells activated across orbital space. Experimental. Unstable, terrifying. Valkyrie ship stumbled. Formations broke, Admiral, Vathrin shouted. Our navigation is failing, gravity distortions everywhere. Then the first shot hit. Not a laser. Not a missile. A tungsten rod the size of a bus, dropped from orbit at near relativistic speed. No warning. No flash. One moment a battleship existed. The next moment it didn't. Earth had weaponized gravity. En masse. In time, Kavaris watched his fleet unravel. Ships collided, shields overloaded, command channels dissolved into chaos. These humans, he whispered. They prepared for this their entire history. On Earth, Vasquez watched casualty estimates scroll past. They weren't celebrating. They were calculating. How long can we hold? An officer asked. Vasquez didn't hesitate. As long as it takes. The Valkyrie had conquered dozens of species, civilizations that surrendered, civilizations that broke. But Earth fought like extinction was personal. Because it was. As the first Valkyrie ships began to retreat, Kavaris finally understood the truth. Humans weren't weak because they were divided. They were dangerous because, when pushed far enough, they stopped being divided at all. And the galaxy was about to learn what happens when a species that refuses to die decides to fight back. Admiral Kavaris had never seen a retreat. Not in training. Not in war. not in recorded Valkyrie history. And yet his fleet was pulling back, not fleeing but hesitating. Valkyrie, where doctrine was simple: advance, overwhelm, erase. Humans had broken that logic. Casualty report, Kavaris demanded. Commander Vathran swallowed. Confirmed losses exceed 3,000 ships. Fleet cohesion is degrading. Morale is unstable. Morale. The word felt foreign. Valkyrie warriors did not fear death. But what they feared was the unknown. And humans had turned the battlefield into something unknowable, open, channel to the High Council. Kavaris ordered. The holographic chamber ignited around him, towering figures cloaked in gold and light. You assured us this species was primitive, one counselor hissed. Kavaris straightened. They are primitive, he said. But primitive does not mean predictable. They weaponize debris, gravity, time delays, civilian infrastructure. They sacrifice cities without hesitation if it buys them minutes. The council went silent. Kavaris continued. They do not fight to win territory. They fight to deny us victory. That was the real danger. Permission was granted. Phase Black. Across the Valkyrie fleet, sealed orders unlocked. Weapons forbidden by interstellar law. Reality-shearing beams. Planet-cracking payloads. If Earth would not submit, Earth would be erased. On Earth, General Vasquez saw the shift instantly. They've changed posture, an officer warned. Energy buildup on their capital ships. Vasquez nodded. They're done underestimating us. She leaned forward. Then we show them the last thing they didn't account for. Activate. Project Ashfall. Every room went silent. An officer hesitated. General. That was theoretical. Vasquez met his eyes. So was extinction. Deep beneath Earth's crust, ancient systems awakened. Cold War relics, decommissioned superweapons, experimental platforms never meant to be used. Humanity's darkest ideas. Polished, refined, and repurposed. Above Earth, space tore open. Not explosions. Not fire. Absence. Valkyrie sensors screamed as sections of space simply vanished. Ships caught inside were not destroyed. They were removed. Kavaris staggered back. What is that? Vathran whispered. Localized reality collapse. The humans had done the unthinkable. They hadn't built better weapons. They had redefined the battlefield. For the first time in Valkyrie history, the Dominion was bleeding, and Earth was still standing. Kavaris stared at the blue planet, not with arrogance, with respect and fear. Signal the council, he said quietly. We are no longer invading a weak species. He swallowed. We are fighting a survivor. Species Admiral Kavaris had fought for over a century. He had ended rebellions. He had shattered empires. He had watched stars burn. But never had he faced an enemy that refused to be conquered. Earth still rotated beneath his fleet, scarred, smoking, alive. The Valkyrie Armada was no longer advancing. It was holding position. Damaged ships drifted. Emergency signals echoed. For the first time in Dominion history, a conquest had stalled. The High Council's hologram ignited again. Your losses are unacceptable, a counselor hissed. Proceed with planetary eradication. Kavaris did not answer immediately. He watched Earth, the blue world that should have broken. With respect, he said slowly, if we crack that planet, he paused. We will not survive what follows. The chamber erupted. You fear them? Kavaris turned. No, he said. I understand them. They will not surrender. They will not submit. And if we destroy Earth, he clenched his claws, they will follow us to the end of the galaxy. Silence fell. On Earth, General Elena Vasquez listened as alien transmissions were decoded. They're debating extermination, an officer said. Vasquez nodded. Good. Good? Someone whispered. Yes, she replied. It means we scared them. Prepare global broadcast, Vasquez ordered. Send it to their fleet, to their council, to anyone listening. Kavaris's bridge lights dimmed as the human signal cut through. Not a threat, not a demand, a statement. This is Earth. We did not choose this war, but we will finish it. We do not fight for conquest. We fight for our children, for our home, for the right to exist. Vasquez leaned closer to the mic. If you leave now, we will not chase you. But if you stay, her voice hardened, we will not stop. Kavaris closed his eyes. He saw the truth clearly now. This was not a battle to be won. This was a line drawn by a species that would never kneel. "Signal all ships," he said quietly. "Withdraw." Vathrin stared. "The Council—" "I will answer to the Council," Kivaris said. "If they still exist." The Velkari fleet began to turn, one by one. Thousands of warships retreating from a single planet, from Earth. On Earth, silence filled the command center. Then cheering. Then tears. Not victory. Survival. General Vasquez removed her gloves. "They'll be back," someone said. She nodded. "Yes, but next time." She smiled faintly. "They'll come prepared to negotiate." Far beyond the Sol system, Kivaris transmitted his final report. "Do not invade Earth. Do not threaten Earth. Do not corner Earth. Because humans are not conquerors. They are survivors. And the galaxy learned a lesson that day. Not every world is meant to be ruled. Some are meant to be left alone."